Thank you, Bishop. I am Janet Maxwell from the Parsons District, and I am pleased to be with you this afternoon. We have all come to know each other as members of the transition team, a group of 7 lay and 7 clergy from Nebraska, Kansas East, and Kansas West. Additionally, we benefit from both of our bishops and our conference staffs and the resources that Gil Rendell has provided as consultant. Over the past 18 months, the team has met together 6 times in what has been a process of learning. We've learned from God, we've learned from one another, from annual conference listening sessions, from 17 conference listening sessions, and from other annual conferences and episcopal areas when multiple conferences share a single presiding bishop. From all of these sources, and especially the listening sessions, we've learned a number of things about Kansas East, Kansas West, and Nebraska annual conferences. These are some of the things we've learned. The lay and clergy members understand and affirm that our mission is making disciples of Jesus Christ for the transformation of the world, and that there is a general openness to change if it enables us to better serve the mission of Jesus. There are significant conversations happening about the purpose of an annual conference, and an inkling that God is helping us and guiding us to rethink and recreate what it means to be connectional. Many persons have articulated willingness to explore ministry with all 3 conferences to strengthen mission and avoid duplication. We've also heard the desire that if we are going to change, then significant change happening relatively quickly is preferable to piece-by-piece change over many years. Finally, we've learned that Kansas and Nebraska are more demographically and regionally the same than different. We understand that there are definitely some differences in our regions and unique nuances that need to be addressed. However, the overall pictures of the 2 states are remarkably similar. In fact, it's interesting to note that we began as a single annual conference in 1856. Deborah, will you share with us some more?
With all that we have learned from one another, from our listening sessions, from God, we recommend a new conference be formed out of our 3 existing current annual conferences, the first step of which will be sharing a bishop in September of 2012. We don't have the details worked out, and we need your help in determining what the major issues are and how we will provide care for them. From the listening sessions, we have learned that there are considerable questions about pensions, about health benefits, and about our collective property. And we have created 2 teams, 2 technical teams that will be working specifically with these areas. These 2 teams will make a preliminary written report that will be available at each annual conference and online. These things and other technical challenges will be part of our transformation. However, they are answerable issues, and their answers must be shaped by God's great plans for the Great Plains. We have been given the opportunity to capture a larger vision of who we are together. It is a vision of what an annual conference could be or should be. And this team is energized by a uniting statement that a new annual conference will enable us to pursue one mission, with more ministry happening, with more people, in more places. And there are 5 primary reasons that we are recommending a new common annual conference.
My name is Troy Bowers. I serve in the Kansas West Annual Conference, pastor of the First United Methodist Church in Salina. And the first compelling reason which we'd like to form one new annual conference is one new annual conference will give the bishop the ability to be the visionary leader that we want and that we need. If we choose to remain 3 annual conferences, it will require our bishop to work with 3 separate conference structures, 3 separate conference offices, 3 separate conference budgets, and try to juggle 3 separate conference mission statements. There is no other Episcopal area in the entire United States that has a structure of 3 annual conferences in one area. One conference would allow our bishop to be the visionary, creative, and prophetic Episcopal leader instead of being dragged down into the maintenance management. One conference will allow our bishop to continue initiatives like the Bridges to the Future campaign that we have in the Kansas area, a capital campaign that in our area raised over $10 million and is serving to create real revival in campus ministries, camping ministries, Hispanic ministries, new church starts, and also provide resources for a center for small membership churches. Bridges to the Future is one of the shining stars of our Kansas area. And that's why we want to have a structure that will help facilitate this kind of Episcopal leadership. The second compelling reason is our present course is simply unsustainable. One of the most difficult yet most helpful practices in setting a vision and charting a new future is to name the current reality. And in all honesty, the current reality in all 3 of our annual conferences for the people known as United Methodists, the current reality is that we are sick. And not only are we sick, but we are dying. And we need to name that reality and we need to face it. In every measurable statistic, and I know that Tom alluded to this in his opening comments, in every measurable statistic in regards to membership, we are declining. Whether that be baptisms, professions of faith, worship attendance, or overall membership. And not only are we declining, but in the past 40 years we have declined dramatically. Basically a 30% decline in each one of these statistics. What one annual conference will allow us to do, and in some ways, and if not many ways, force us to do, is to put everything on the table. To say, right now, there are no sacred cows. Right now, there are no items or ministries that are off limits. We name our current reality. This is who we are. This is where we're at. This is what we have. And now, as we begin to build something new together, what are those very best things that we want to keep? What are those ministries and practices and structures that need to stay in place that are succeeding and working well? And what are those ministries, practices, and structures that perhaps we need to set aside and let go? Perhaps at one time they had a place, served us well, but now maybe they just need a proper burial. And the members of our transition team find this idea and this process invigorating as we look to the future. So when we say our present course is unsustainable, let's not see it as an inconvenient truth, but rather let's see it as a convenient opportunity to move the kingdom of God and the reign of God forward in this new area.
We also feel that this change promotes a reduction of barriers and enhances best ministry practices. See, the process of change will cause us to do real and true evaluation. One conference enables us to reorganize internal structures, to simplify decision-making, and to reduce bureaucratic barriers for best ministry. This is about us unleashing a power of leadership at all levels to be exercised for more visionary and adaptive change. We at each annual conference are in the midst of processes to help us evaluate our structures. And this is an opportunity for us to together launch new ministries in ways that are unexpected in places we had not imagined a church beyond steeple and pew. This invites us to move into the future.
Lay members of our congregations say, "Send us a good pastor." Pastors say, "Send me to a place with good lay leadership." All three conferences are dealing and addressing the area of leadership development. We believe that by combining resources, greater attention, and enhanced degree of excellence will be afforded to leadership development. This, together with more efficiency and effectiveness in leadership deployment. Imagine the opportunities that would open up to place pastors and in congregations with even greater affinities. Pastors with giftings that are needed by that congregation. We already have a modified itinerancy system, and we believe this will only offer greater opportunities for the growth and development of pastors. A larger pool of pastors provides an even better opportunity for the right fit with the local church. This also opens the door for renewed vigor among lay leadership. We have known for a long time that the success of a local church does not rest solely with the pastor, but with the faithfulness and leadership of the lay congregation. I imagine new opportunities for lay leadership and for lay leadership development within the congregation they serve. Opportunities that will grow us spiritually and propel us to a renewed vision of what it means to be a disciple of Jesus Christ. With combined resources, as I look at this from both a fiscal and personnel standpoint, the possibilities for excellent and consistent leadership development are enhanced. This will benefit all of our local churches, the conference, the jurisdiction, and the general church.
Another compelling reason for one annual conference is to integrate and share resources so we may boldly reach the mission fields of today and tomorrow. One conference gives us the freedom to better leverage our communication and technological assets to create a larger presence in the mission field and also a better resource for the communication and technology needs of our local churches. Imagine using the kind of technology that we are using today in this webcast to offer ongoing service and leadership development opportunities. Reinventing pastor and lay development programs such as Nebraska's Wesleyan Live, and making education and spiritual formation content originating out of some of our churches such as Church of the Resurrection and St. Mark's to be available more broadly are concepts that we are already exploring. There is so much that we can learn from each other. We have so much talent in our two states. Imagine what we could do if we were more intentional about sharing our collective resources. Imagine a connection that brings our smallest congregations and our largest congregations together for training and education and even meetings. New definitions and experiences of connection will emerge. Our creative possibilities are endless, and they will reach not only those within our churches, but also provide new ministries and communication with those we seek to invite, nurture, and equip as disciples of Jesus Christ.
You have heard these fine representatives of the transition team, these persons who have thought deeply about what it might mean to be one conference, one Great Plains conference made up of the three conferences that we represent. Now we need to hear from you. In the next 20 minutes, you will have an opportunity to think deeply, to ponder, to talk with one another, to send in your questions and to send in your comments. I would remind you that you can contact us by phone, 800-435-6107, or if you prefer, email, info, I-N-F-O, at umcneb.org, or Kansas Bishop, all lowercase, at hotmail.com. As we move forward, following this webcast, this will be our process. We will come to receive all of your questions and comments. We'll try to answer some of them today, and then we will show some Q&As on our respective websites. By April 15, the transition team will form a document that will come in our pre-conference journals to all 3 conferences. At annual conference, we will decide whether we want one annual conference, and then in 2012, we will hear reports about the implementation of how this one annual conference might be structured and what we might do. This is an important time of discernment. You have heard the possibilities that might be available to us. May God give us wisdom.